one of the first panellists that we had at the pop-up shop.
Yeah.
On the Friday night, and the shop was jam-packed.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we had a very, very important conversation, and one that could have gone on for a lot longer.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of just pick up where we left off as far as exploring influencer marketing, the state of it today, your obsession with events and influencer marketing, and then wrap it up with an exploration of what self-love means to you. First things first, let's do a quick recap of your career journey today.
Gosh, I feel like I don't know where to start, really. It all started off... I studied marketing and advertising at university, so I guess I'll take it way back. And then I felt like I always wanted to stay within that because I stemmed from a background within club nights, you could say, and promotions. And I found that really entertaining. So I thought, do you know what, I actually like this. So I tried to do it for a career as such. But my main aim was always to go to the O2 to work because I saw it as they were like the biggest venue, I would say, in the world. Maybe they were at the time. But I was like, that was always my aim, basically, to work there. And then I was able to do that. I was like, do you know what? If I can do this, then there's other things that I can sort of try to aspire to do. So I've done a few other bits and pieces then. So the O2 Mobo Awards, ORS, which is the most recent brand that I'm working with. I feel like I rushed through that, actually. But if you want to like break it down already, I skipped quite a bit.
You were an influencer in order, well, as a way.
Well, I was a brand ambassador for ORS, so that's, I guess, where it sort of started.
What's the difference between a brand ambassador and an influencer?
I would say a brand ambassador, it depends, because I feel like at the time I wouldn't say that I was an influencer. So basically I would say a brand ambassador is basically a person that can carry like the key messages for the brand as such. So even though in a sense you could say that they're also influencing a certain audience, I'd say there's different levels of brand ambassadors, you could say, because there are brand ambassadors now that are essentially influencers. So I guess maybe when I started out, it was very new then. It wasn't really... Brands weren't really using influencers as such, and maybe that was the term that they were using at that time.
Okay, so do you feel like now it's murky waters and the two have kind of merged? So
they've
a brand
definitely
ambassador
blended.
and an influencer kind of...
I would say that they are the same, but it just depends on what the brand expects from that person and the deliverables as such.
Okay.
So I would say that a brand ambassador and an influencer could sort of be the same thing, but it just depends what the brand wants to get out of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. So what were the expectations of you as a brand ambassador for ORS before you...
It was basically to trial the products and then create content, but they also had other areas that we could do. For example, we could host our own parties, but that was for like friends and families. But I felt like at the time I was more behind the scenes. I didn't really want to be in front of the camera and like, you know, creating content and all that stuff. So I'd done that for a while, but then I sort of stepped back, and then I think maybe a couple of months down the line there was an opportunity to work for the brand. I applied for a position, but I didn't get it then. But then I think it was the following year I was reached out to find out if I wanted to basically take them up on an opportunity that had arose. So that was to look after their events and PR. So I feel like from then, which was in, I think that was 2014, I think, I started doing stuff with ORS. And ever since then, I've just been working with them.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you first initially worked with ORS, you were part of the ORS team, and now you've got your own agency. What did that journey look like?
I would say the journey took a while because while I was working with ORS, I actually started off working with them part-time. And that was while I was at Mobo Awards. So I was working at Mobo Awards full-time, and then in the evening I was working with ORS.
Wow.
And then it got to a point where it was just getting a bit hectic, and I felt like I was continuously working. But luckily I feel like it came at a good point because after Mobo Awards had finished, there's sort of like a quiet season. So then I was able to do more with ORS. And then I decided to make the transition and leave Mobo Awards and then start doing more stuff with ORS. And then ever since then, I just had more of a remit to look after stuff. So it just built and built. And then I was like, do you know what, I need a platform to showcase the work that I'm actually doing, because I had my own Instagram account. And I thought, okay, maybe my followers, they don't want to see like all of my work. So I thought, let me be a bit more professional, set up my own ACMG consultancy, and then just host all of the work that I'm doing on there. So that's how the transition happened.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
And when was that?
That was, I officially registered the company last year, June.
Okay.
I think it was. Yeah. So since then, I've just gone down, okay, I've got the consultancy now, this is what I'm doing. So it's sort of, that journey sort of helped me realise exactly what it is that I want to be doing. So now I've got my own consultancy. Even though ORS are predominantly my main clients, I still work with individuals behind the scenes helping with their brand development.
All right, so talk me through your day-to-day now with ORS, and talk me through some of your biggest activations, because ORS are known for making a lot of noise offline.
I would say I've got a few actually in terms of big moments with ORS that I've created for them. The first one was their first influencer trip. So I planned a trip basically for 15 bloggers and we took them to Cyprus. So that was an activity where we were interested in a few people and we thought, let's just bring everyone together just to see how everyone interacts. The ultimate aim was to maybe introduce or reintroduce them to the brands, because there's a lot of people that are aware of the brand, but they might not necessarily have tried the products, or they might have seen it or it's just been sitting in someone's cupboard, so they're aware of the brand, but it's good for them to get a chance to see people who are behind the scenes. So that's why we felt like it was a good opportunity to do that. So we've done lots of activities like quad biking, scuba diving, we had lunches, dinners. It was really nice actually.
The branding was down to a T. I saw like vinyls on the mirrors,
we had everything
on the bed that had ORS.
And there's attention
branding.
to detail as well, which really helps.
Yes.
So once you've got the attention to detail, it's like any little bits like ORS or something that's like an Instagrammable moment. And I think those key things are really important for an event. So that was like my first big activation I'd done with the brand. And then I think it was Notting Hill Carnival, I think, that I planned. And then Natural Hair Academy in Paris. So we've done that. I think that was in 2016, sorry. And then 2017, I'd done Notting Hill Carnival again and Natural Hair Academy. But every time I'm doing the event, even though it's the same event, it's always a case of what can I do differently to change the experience. So overall, it's going to be the same in terms of the outcome that we would like, which is, shareability, content creation. But it's just what can we do differently to make that experience something different. So that's always a challenge.
So the first gig that you got was the Cyprus trip. What was it like getting buy-in from the brand for that trip? Because I know it must have cost a pretty penny, and you're someone that's new. You were relatively new at the time. So what did it look like convincing them to let you set up that trip and take those girls away?
I would say in terms of that trip, that's something that they wanted to do anyway. There's a lady called Tanika who's the head of brand. So she's actually amazing in terms of what she does. So she already had an idea in mind that she wanted to take a group of girls away. So it was a case of us going back and forth together, sort of planning the overall activities, but then me actually diligently looking at what could that be and how's it going to look, and the event layout. Basically, reaching out to people that I would like to be on that trip, just putting together the whole thing from start to finish. So that was definitely an experience, and from then I was like, yes, this is definitely what I want to be doing, So it's just nice to actually see the end result.
Yes.
We've been planning it so much. And there was days where I wasn't sleeping at all. I don't know how I done it, but that's actually when I started to drink coffee, because I was like, I have to, yeah, exactly. And because I had to speak to China as well for suppliers, so that's when I first got into coffee, just to stay up the late nights. But I'm used to it now anyway.
And how did you select the influencers that went on the trip? Because a lot of the conversation that we had at the pop-up shop was for the purpose of upcoming influencers, so that they know what they can do with their brands, with their personal platforms, to gain the attention of big brands like ORS.
It depends on what we were looking to do in terms of the activities post-event, but there were some girls that we had already worked with prior, so it was a case of figuring out the different personalities. And ORS, they're a brand that likes to be inclusive. So I would want to make sure that I'm always catering to different skin tones, hair textures and hair types.
But what were the key signs of success for you from that trip, where you were like, yes, we accomplished exactly what we wanted to, and we got out of it exactly what we needed to?
I would say pretty much straight after the trip, we just had pure organic content from everyone that was on the trip. They just wanted to share stuff. We didn't have any, there was no contractual obligations to say you need to post X amount of Instagram pictures or do a YouTube video. I think because when someone loves the experience that they're given, they just willingly want to share, and they want to share it with their own platforms. And I think it came to a point where, at that time, the bloggers that were on the trip, they had never been included in anything. And there was a big thing that women of colour don't really get given the same opportunities as other people. So that was essentially us also giving back to them and let them know, look, we recognise you, we see what you're doing, and we want to just, take you away to say thank you for everything that you're doing, because they should get rewarded. I think they put in so much effort to what they do.
It's a lot of work,
Yeah, and they don't really get congratulated or anything. They always get overlooked. So as a brand, we just want to make sure that we recognise them basically and shine a light on them.
That's so nice. So as far as upcoming influencers, what are you looking for? Like, what's the next thing that you're looking for? So if you could like design your perfect influencer, someone that you feel like the brand really needs at this moment in time, what do they look like? What do they do? What does their content look like?
I would say that's a hard one because it really depends on what we're working on at the time. But I feel like, I don't feel like that. I wanted to say I don't think there is a perfect influencer because, for example, you could have an influencer that has great, sharp, shiny content, but then at the same time, it's also nice to get something that's raw and not too clean and put together. So I really do think it depends on what you're working on, what you want the outcome to look like, you know, because we could be working on something in particular where, I don't know, it might be behind the scenes or something like that, and there could be someone whose content mirrors that and what they do on a normal day-to-day basis. So now I would look at them and be like, yeah, they'll be good for that. But then I might want something that's a bit more magazine style, and then I've already got someone in mind for that because they just do it naturally. I don't need to sort of probe them and guide them as to what they should do or how they should do it. So it really depends, I'd say.
Are you constantly on the lookout for new people?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I need to put my phone down as well sometimes. Like, every time I'm on Instagram, I see someone like, they could be good for, I don't know what yet, but for something in time.
I'll bookmark it.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly. I've got, like, different folders for hair, wigs, I know influencers of that size, you know, just different things. So you never know when the opportunity arises.
Yeah. And are you inundated with emails and messages from influencers?
We do get a lot of people asking for collaborations. Most of them, they tend to come from girls that don't really have a big following, but just because they don't have a big following, I don't overlook that because I still feel like they could be good for content creation. For example, they might have like the hair type that I'm looking for, so it could be a case of, yeah, they've got that hairstyle, their hair type, and maybe I could work with them to actually just create content behind the scenes so that we can add it to our image bank. So it might not necessarily be for a campaign in particular, but we can still work with them to create content that is ORS led sort of thing. So I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I explained it properly.
Makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And who are the most impressive, like, shout out a few of the most impressive influencers that you've worked with and what you've liked about them in particular?
I would say I'll go by most recent stuff. We work with Beulah quite a bit, actually. I know that she does a lot of stuff with Treasure Tress.
Yeah, she works for us.
Yeah, she does, actually. But I just like her content. I mean, it doesn't come across like she's trying too hard as such. And for example, she could just take a picture in front of a white screen. I don't know exactly how she does it, but quite a lot of her stuff's against the white screen. And it's just really sharp, and she's not really doing many facial expressions, but you can like sense the emotion from her. So I would say that she's really good. Like, you don't need to give her any direction. She just does what she needs to do. So I'd say Beulah. I've always got Hair is Simba in my mind.
Yes.
Well, it's not even Hair is Simba anymore. She's like Simone
Simone
Powderly, isn't it?
Powderly,
I've always got
grown
her in my... Yeah, exactly. I just really like her personality. She's so nice and warm and loving, you know. So any opportunity I have, I'd always try to get her involved. Oh, gosh. I've like gone through so many people that I've worked with. It's a bit hard to pinpoint. Yeah,
One
but I'd
more,
say...
maybe.
Okay, one more. I'm trying to think of events now. Mariam Musa, actually.
Okay.
Mariam, she's a really good one. Her energy, the way she delivers her content, even in her videos, it's like she's so natural. You know, some people can come across where it's very scripted, but her stuff is just really natural. She's got a really good following, very engaging, and I reckon she's definitely one to look out for. She's always going to be doing, I don't know, the next best thing. And I've just seen the most recent campaign she's done as well, which is really good.
So if you wanted to become an influencer, what would you say someone should do? Like, they're like, oh, I'm thinking about starting on my Instagram.
Yeah.
That was
What
my
should
next
I
question.
post? Oh.
You think alike. I would say what they need to focus on is what industry or what is it exactly that they want to influence as such. Like, what is their main focus? I feel like now it comes across where being an influencer is a trend as such, and I feel like everyone's got a level of influence, but if you want to do it properly, I think you just need to pinpoint what exactly is it that you want to do. Like, if it's in beauty or fashion or entertainment, don't try to experiment with too much too soon. Like, maybe just focus on one thing in particular. Once you've mastered that and once you see traction, then you can move on to the next thing. So I think it just depends on what it is you want to, well, knowing what you want to do, mastering that, then move on to the next thing, and just testing the waters, really. But not do too much at the same time, because I think that will confuse your audience.
Okay, so how do you feel about lifestyle bloggers? So bloggers that they're not like, I think it's funny that we call people bloggers still as well when
Yeah.
hardly anyone
I
still
know,
writes
it's like,
blogs.
yeah, exactly.
But what do you think about lifestyle bloggers? So they're not specialising in natural hair, they're
Yeah.
not specialising in fashion, they're literally just documenting their life, and they've managed to garner a following. What are your thoughts on that?
I like lifestyle bloggers influencers. I like them, I do, because when you think about it, in day-to-day life, we come across so many different things. You don't just focus in particular on one thing each day. Like, we go through so many different experiences. So I think it's good to have that lifestyle element because you're going to be experiencing so many different things or subjects. So it's like, why not be a lifestyle blogger as such? And I know that sort of contradicts what I was saying before in terms of you shouldn't experiment with too much, just focus on one area. But I feel like once you've mastered that, then that's when you can sort of like go into the lifestyle side of things, if that's what someone's aspiring to do. But I think if you're starting out, then just basically start from focusing on one thing in particular and then just try to branch off.
Okay. And then so one of the things that frustrates me a lot of the time is when I go to talks or I listen to stuff and there's not any clear-cut instructions of like tangible advice that I can take and apply.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to someone who wants to work with ORS? They've got quite a small following, but they create very good content and they want to create content for ORS. What would be their like immediate steps to take?
I would say it's always good to make sure that the platform that they have, they've got like all the key information such as an about page, contact details, making sure that they're displaying their content in a good way as such, because when you think about it, the first thing is going to be visual. Like if I go to your page and then everything looks a bit messy, I'm going to think this person doesn't really know what they're doing, or they don't know what they want to do, or they're not ready yet, because it's a lot of effort to try and help someone change up what they're currently working on if it's not already in a way that I would like it to be, to say, okay, you've got potential, we could do something. But I still feel like if that's the case and I can see potential in what they're trying to achieve, then it could be a possibility where if I'm working on something particular, then I can just, find out if they want to do something in bite sizes, just to test the waters first. But if they're trying to reach out, for example, to me, it could just be like a standard email, nothing too long-winded, just to say, oh, hi, for example, my name's Acacia. I've currently started off blogging. This is what I want to do. I would love to do X, Y, and Z with you or ORS. This is what I'm aspiring to achieve, because it's always good to know what they want to do.
Longer term.
Yeah, because then that also helps me think, okay, I know that this is coming up. They could probably be good for that. So it's always good to know exactly where they're looking to go. It's sort of like that saying, what's that saying? If there's no goal, you'll never score, or something like that. So essentially, if I don't know what you're trying to do, then I can't really help you to its full entirety. So I was just touching the mic then. So, yeah, that would be my key advice.
And what's the most jarring thing you get? Because I know at Treasure Chest we get DMs all the time like, hi, I'd love to collaborate.
Yeah.
Full stop. And I'm like...
That's what I'm saying. You collaborate how to do what?
Who, what, where, why, how? Like, what do you mean?
I would say for me, sometimes we are inundated with a lot of inquiries. They want ORS to sponsor events. There's only so much that we can actually do. So we've basically created a form now to get people to fill it in. And then I would sift through it and find out, okay, who could we work with? But I can only really get back to those that we can actually work with. So then we tend to get a lot of people, sending DMs on Instagram stuff saying, oh, I sent an email or I filled in the form a couple of months ago, no one's replied yet. And it's like, it also says in the form, like if you're successful, then you'll get a reply within 14 days. So we really specified how we're going to operate. But I don't know, I just think they're really eager to try and do something.
So I know you spend a lot of time on social media. And the algorithm on Instagram is always changing. It's always tripping people up. So a lot of the questions that we have, and one of the questions that I received once I shared with someone that you were coming on the show, was to find out how they can make the most of it, manipulate it towards their favour, and also just use it as the best way to attract attention to their profile. So you've mentioned having a very well put together profile. I know in the past you mentioned the importance of having their actual email address in the bio.
Yeah, which is really useful.
Sharing their personality, but then if they're having trouble with their page even being discovered because of the algorithm always changing, what do you suggest?
I would say in terms of the algorithm, it's a lot of trial and error, and I've come across some influencers that I speak to say that it's like they feel like once they've mastered it,
It changes.
Instagram always changes. And I feel like it's always going to be like that. So now I actually feel like if your content's good enough, like someone will eventually find you. And it could be just a case where you need to do a bit more outreach. Maybe you should start liking more people's pictures, do more comments, DMs, all of that stuff. Even go to the extent to find out who's actually behind the brand, look them up, LinkedIn them, send a message. You know, just do anything that you can to get someone's attention. Because I also feel like you can't always rely on social media. And I think to myself, if social media disappears, if Instagram disappears, what's going to happen for all these people, you know? So it's always good to try and build up your own database on the side. It'll also be beneficial for them to, you know, read up reports, take it off of social media, or I say move away from social media for a bit and just do your own research, personal development, see what like people are saying in the tech industry and all that stuff, because that's also a good shout, you know. It's always good to try to be a step ahead. So fair enough, everything you're trying to be seen on social media, but then you should also go to the extent where you want to actually see what's happening behind the scenes, because that would also help. So just try to do your own research, I'd say, in personal development, and just see what the industry is saying, because that would also give you a better idea as well.
That is a very, very good tip. A very good tip. All right, so I'm going to steer slightly away from your obsession with events and influencer marketing, and just seek to learn more about what you do for yourself. So events is a very full-time job, and it is all-consuming, like mentally, physically, emotionally. It can be draining. So what are some of the things that you do to take care of yourself personally?
What I've started to do most recently, I say most recently, but I'll say really and truly since last year, I've started to listen to a lot of podcasts.
Love a good podcast.
Really do, I love a podcast. And I feel like sometimes your mind can get so clouded, and because you're doing so much, you don't have time to get advice from others as such.
And learn.
Exactly. And I'm really big on personal development. It's something that I'm always trying to do. So sometimes, even though I could be constantly working, I try to step back and just say, no, let me just this is me now, me time, my time to do something. So I really love podcasts. I go to the gym regularly, but I don't. Not now anyway. There was a point, I go through phases where I go to the gym. Then
Your
I don't
sister?
Go to the gym. Yeah, my sister, actually. I don't know how she does it, but she's so active. Like, she loves it. And basically, I'm glad that I've got her as a personal trainer when I want to at my disposal. But no, sometimes it can get to the point where I'm doing so much, I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered to go to the gym because I'm so tired. But I try to listen to podcasts, go to the gym. I hardly go shopping these days. I was going to say retail therapy is a good one. Yeah. But then again, I'd rather invest in myself now, you know. I used to be a big spender in terms of getting clothes and accessories. But now I've sort of moved away from that because I can see the benefit in investing in yourself, like whether it's health-wise, making sure you're, up to date in your multivitamins, my sister would say, your cod liver oil tablets and all that stuff, you know, just investing in yourself. Because I think that's key, because if you're not up to par, you're not going to be able to sort of do your best as such. So you have to look after number one, which is yourself.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's easier said than done, but you have to. You have to find a way to do it.
Yes.
Know? And even the other day, I came across, it's called Calm app. Have you heard of it?
I have,
yeah. I was like, let me try this, because sometimes I feel like I can't really work properly and I need to listen to music in the background. So I was like, let me try some meditation music. I'd done that and I just felt like I was just typing away like this. So that does help as well. Yeah. So I need to do more of that, I think. Meditation, all that stuff. I think it helps.
Cool. And what's the most expensive investment you've made in yourself? 2018/early 19.
Gosh. Most investment. Well, I would say, I don't know, maybe this could count. I recently moved, so I set up a home office. So now I've got my own energy in my own environment. So I was saying to you before, actually, we came on that. Sometimes I need to be careful I don't spend too much time at home.
Because it just overlaps.
Exactly. And then you're constantly working. And then you forget, okay, you need to actually be around other people as well, you know?
Need to socialise, need to leave the house, need to get some fresh air.
But to other people, sometimes they're like, you're always out. But I'm like, I'm not really out, am I? Maybe because it's work-wise, I don't know. But that's another thing as well. Sometimes when you go to events, it blends with your personal and work. So it's like there isn't really any cut-off point.
Right.
And I could be getting pings on my phone, WhatsApp. Sometimes I could have been like, okay, I've closed down for the day. Then I get a WhatsApp about work. I'm like, and then I open my laptop, but then it's like, what do I do? Do I get a business phone? But then I think if I just get a business phone, I might miss out on other opportunities, you know? So at the moment, it's all blended into one.
I think it's brilliant that you separated work from, I want to say home, but work from bedroom, because when I launched Treasure Chest, I was working out of my bedroom, and I found that I couldn't sleep properly because there's no separation. There's no ability to switch off because everything is literally. I wake up and my desk is right
there.
here.
Yeah, exactly. And then you see your laptop, you see your phone. That's what I need to stop doing when I wake up, because I charge my phone next to my bed. I know people say you shouldn't do that, but I pick it up. I'm like, I know that I shouldn't pick it up. I'm like, no, let me pick it up just to see what's going on. You know, I want to get out of that. I really do. But it's difficult.
Do you have any guilty pleasures or anything that you?
Guilty pleasures. I like watching a lot of reality TV.
Okay, so that's like your downtime to be completely away from
work. So if I'm working at home, for example, on my break, I'd put on, I don't know, maybe Real Housewives or Atlanta or something while I'm cooking my lunch. Yeah. I'm like, do you know what? I'll take an hour out just to do that. And I just feel like, I don't know, it's like downtime. It's nice to think about something different, you know, and then take a moment to go back to work. So I'll say that's definitely my guilty pleasure. I feel like I've got a schedule, like there's different days where different things come out. And so I just make sure that I do that as a downtime if I'm at home. If not, then, I don't know. This could be anything at the time, I'd say. But definitely that would be my guilty pleasure, I'd say.
Have there ever been any moments throughout your journey? So it sounds like you've had a pretty intense career so far and pretty consistent. Have there ever been times when you completely neglected self-love and it crept up on you and you had to learn a lesson that you now apply to your life?
I feel like there was a period where I wasn't too certain in terms of what I wanted to be doing. And I felt like there were things that weren't going my way. But now I've said to myself, if there's a closed door, then it's a closed for a reason. And most of the times, like, for example, when I was younger and I would apply for positions and I didn't get it, I would always get something that was much better than that opportunity that I was trying to go for.
Absolutely.
So now when people say no or it doesn't happen, I'm like, oh, that's fine, because I know that something bigger is to come and that is actually for me. Yeah. So I don't even fuss too much now. And I know that everything will align the way it needs to align. And I'm a believer now of saying, like, speaking to the universe and, you know, thoughts become things and it will happen when the right time is for you. So if anyone's going through, like, a particular situation where they're trying so much to do something, it's not happening, just say to yourself, it's obviously not the right time now. That's not for you. Something is coming along the way. It's going to be much better, you know. Yeah. It just needs a bit more time to develop. Yes. So that's how I turn it around.
That was like, I don't know what year I had it as my mantra, but it's on my WhatsApp to this date because I'm terrible with WhatsApp. But it literally says, what is for me will not pass me by.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when I was building Treasure Chest, like, it's a lot of closed doors and a lot of no's. And I just had to keep telling myself that, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
No means not yet. And I'm going to try again. And I'm going to try again. You know? And I'm going to try again. I'm going to try a different method. I'm going to try a different strategy.
And you could become, like, so disheartened. But you don't really need to. It's like, once you finally get there, you look back and, like, you laugh. You can laugh. Because it's like, if you did take the opportunity that you're trying to go for, you wouldn't be where you are now, you know? So I believe in that strongly.
That is cool. Do you have any other belief systems that keep you going, especially as far as work, and keep you motivated?
To keep me motivated, I do like to be in touch with what my peers are doing. And I think that's good just to, like, sort of use it as a benchmark, you could say. Because, you know, there might be, like, opportunities that you don't necessarily know about, but then you come across it from your peers because they might be in the same industry, or I don't know, you might come across, like, a report or something like that. It just keeps you grounded and, like, you know, more focused on the direction that you should be heading in. So I think that's definitely good.
Did you ever go through a quarter-life crisis?
I did, you know.
You did?
Yeah. And now I feel like I'm at midlife crisis.
Oh, come on. How old were you
when I was quarter-life crisis, I would say when I was 25.
Spot on. Like, bang on quarter.
Definitely, bang on quarter. And I was made redundant at the time. And I was just like, do you know what? I never want to work for anyone again because I don't want to put my life in someone else's hands, you know? So I think since then, that's when my mindset changed. And I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to do as much as I can for myself to make things happen. But obviously, that might not be the case all the time or for everyone. So I'd say it's just a case of just trying to do what you can and just really don't get disheartened if you're not where you want to be or where you think you should be. Because as I said before, you know, what will happen at the right time as such, you know. And I came across all these, like, memes and stuff. I think it was it McDonald's? He didn't get big until he was, I don't know, maybe in his late 30s or 40s or something like that.
I've seen, and it's got the ages of everyone, like Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, and Alibaba guy and all them people. So I'm like, you know what, I've still got time. Like, you know.
How do you, like, what are your thoughts on that? Because at the moment, so I'm 27, most of my friends are like 28 to like 30, and there's a conversation of, oh my gosh, guys, we were meant to have had kids, be married, have the mansion by 25.
Yeah.
Like, what do we, like, how do you manage that as a woman? Because I feel like it does feel like there's a constant race against time.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you're like, no, like, I want to enjoy this. I want to enjoy the journey. I want to enjoy the process.
I think it stems from when you're kids and you watch cartoons and things like that. It seems like they get in love like a young... Exactly, yeah. But then I think, you know, with time, you experience more things with time. They actually start to realise as you get older and you get wiser, that actually, no, that's essentially a lie. Like, you know, why put things towards an age? But just go with the flow. Like, even when I was 25, got made redundant, that was a quarter-life crisis. Then when I turned 30 didn't really hit me as much as turning 31. And I think it only hit me because when I fill in forms, I'm now in the other bracket. So now I'm like 31 to something. I'm like, oh, okay. And then when I like come across like personal development courses or things like that, it's like 18 to 25s. I'm like, so what about us lot then? We still want to learn and whatnot, you know? So... So that's when it started to hit me a little bit more. And I'm like, okay, no, I need to be a bit more serious now, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's all a work in process. So, yeah.
What does it look like for you and your peers? Are you all kind of in the same phase of life, or does it differ? Because I've heard that it gets to a certain point in life when like some people are married with kids and living happily ever after. Some people are like super career driven, and everyone's at different.
I think that we're all at different points in our life. But in a way, it's good because we've got different things to look out for and to aspire to be. For example, exactly. Like I've got a few close friends. They've now got kids. One of them's about to have a kid. I've got a few that are married. A lot of single people still. All from different walks of life, really. So I think it's nice to have that mix.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Otherwise, if everyone's at the same stage in their life, you're not really able to help them, or you can't learn from them. You know. So it's like a bit of back and forth. We can all help each other out. So I think that's really nice. What will be for everyone.
There we
Isn't
go.
It? That's what I believe.
I feel like it makes it a lot more. It just takes the pressure off to think that, like, whatever will be.
It does
be.
as well.
And otherwise you're like constantly racing against this clock, and as you said, societal standards and timelines.
Yeah.
That.
Actually, talking about that, that's why I got this tattoo. Actually, it says Destiny. Okay. This was like a spur of the moment thing that I got, and I felt like I was drawn to get this because there's a period of my life where I was trying to make so much happen. And I was like, do you know what? What will be, will be. It'll be my destiny sort of thing. I was like, okay, Destiny, let me get that tattoo.
Where did you get it done?
When?
Where?
Oh, where? Somewhere in Leighton.
Okay.
Yeah, years. I can't remember how many years ago, but a good few years ago now.
Is it your first tattoo?
My second one.
Did that really hurt? Because I've heard.
It was just like annoying itch, like scratching feeling.
Okay.
But I feel like I want to get another one, but I don't know what I would get.
Okay.
So I've been feeling that for a while, but I don't think I'll get another one.
So what's next for ACMG Consultancy?
I would say this year I'm definitely going to be looking to work with more brands and do more projects. That's what I want to do because I want to expand my work portfolio as such. So
Beyond
I thought
beauty and hair, or
yeah. So my sister, she's in fitness, so I'm going to make sure that I'm a bit more active in terms of, you know, just trying to make things happen with her, create more events. We done one, I think it was the end of last year actually, for Dominica because they had you know, the hurricane.
Yeah.
That was really fun. So that was the first time we actually worked together, and we've done a lot of press. We've done the event, and we got really good feedback. So I feel like there needs to be a lot more representation within the fitness industry. So in saying that, I'm like, well, why not actually help my sister out? Like, she's sense. A fitness person, I'm the marketing events person. It all blends together. So that would be like the next thing I'll be looking into, like moving to the fitness side of things, as well as other things I've got my eye on that I'm trying to do.
There we go. Yeah. And are there any resources or anything that you're using in particular, especially this year, to help you just reach that next level?
Yeah, just in terms of streamlining my work, whenever I need to delegate tasks out, I use Podio. Have you heard of Podio?
I haven't.
Have you heard of Trello?
Yes.
It's similar to Trello.
Okay.
But I feel like Podio for me is just a bit more easier to use. So it's like that, you could say. It's really good to delegate tasks and just see what people are doing. So I use that in particular when I'm planning events, because there's so many things I need to say, we need to do this, we need to do that. It's just easier to assign it to different people, which is really good. Canva's a good one as well.
Yeah.
That's like a go-to for just like, you know, doing presentations and quick things like that. Podcasts are always good as well. Like there's different podcasts for email marketing, personal development, all these different, whatever you're interested in basically, there's a podcast for it. So I try to do that as a learning tool. I'd say they're my go-tos that I can think of off the top of my head anyway. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's more. And
Nice,
books
that's
as well, I'm
nice.
really getting back into. I used to read a lot when I was younger, stopped for a while, and I actually missed it. And do you know why I started actually? Because I'd done a digital detox.
Oh,
I'd done it
okay.
for only a day and a half, but I feel like I got so much more done. And I was actually reading again. I was like, this is what I need to do more often.
It is very calming.
Yeah.
But I feel like my phone has to be somewhere completely different. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, I wonder what I'm missing.
That's another thing actually. I put my phone on airplane mode as well when I'm trying to work. Because if I've got my phone next to me and I'm trying to do stuff, notifications and everything, I can't do it.
No, I understand that. I completely
So
understand
airplane
that.
mode, definitely. Secret tactic.
There we go. Do you do not disturb as well? Because that is another one of my
I
favourites.
don't really use do not disturb. I think if anything, I'll just go straight to airplane mode.
Oh, I do not disturb, and you can set the hours. So mine are like between 9 and 5.
Mm.
If you ring me and you only ring me once, it goes to voicemail.
Okay.
If you ring me repeatedly, then it allows your phone call
That's
to
a good
come
one.
through.
That's a good one.
So it's a very good way to like just divert calls.
That's a good
that
one
don't
to
need
do. Yeah. Those unsolicited calls.
Yeah, there we
And
go.
also, you know, now you can track how much time you spend on apps on your phone.
No.
I tried to do that. I done it for a while, but it got annoying because I just wanted to go on Instagram and different things. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to cancel it because I can't stand having to hit the notification to say, no, it's fine. Just allow me access. So I took that off.
Control.
Yeah. Just self-discipline, really.
Yeah.
You need to learn how to discipline yourself.
Yeah.
It's difficult, but yeah, I need to find a way to do it.
There we go. And one final question. So we spoke about self-love. Do you think you've got a different perspective on self-love now that you've turned 30? And I don't know, I've just heard that once you turn 30, you feel like this sense of just self-control, ownership, and agency. Like,
that is
this
true.
is who I am.
Yeah, that's true, because I feel like before you're 30, not really trying to put an age on it again, but before you're 30, I feel like that's your time to do a lot of trial and error. That's your time to play around with things, find out what you like. And I feel like once you're 30 onwards, that's like the time to be serious in a sense and like know exactly what you want to do. And I keep saying to people, I said what I said, sort of thing.
That's it.
Like, because sometimes I could think too much about what I'm saying, but at the same time, if you're worried about what you're saying to try and get something done, that can also hold you back. So just as something for yourself, just to get forward, like, don't really think too. I'm not saying about being rude or anything like that. Just
having boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, boundaries. Definitely boundaries is needed, and just what's the word? How am I trying to say it? Just respect like yourself a bit more, you know? Because whatever you're saying is like, don't doubt yourself. I guess I'm trying to say, you know?
I love that.
Yeah, because there could be people that you're talking to, or you're trying to get something done, and I don't know, maybe because I don't know, you might be younger than them, or whatever the case may be, they might not take you seriously. But you just have to think about, you know what you're talking about. You've got the experience. You've done X, Y, and Z already. So just believe in yourself a bit more. Don't try to think too much. And just try and do the most that you can, you know, in the best way that you can. Yeah.
Wise words of advice. Well, thank you so much for your
you.
time, Acacia. I really appreciate you
Thank
coming
you
down.
for inviting me down.
And I'm sure
Been
there were
nice.
some very, very useful tips.
I
and
hope so.
things. No,
I hope
absolutely.
so.
I'm even like, I can't wait to hear this back so that I can write it down and stick it on my mirror. But no, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.